Hans Wormhat. This is 33 reasons to homeschool your children. And these first few slides are just from Reddit, just people complaining. And that's just one thing. People are always complaining about public school, and for all sorts of different reasons. Not even just the obvious reasons, like it's not really teaching people anything useful. It's really just like a prison for children, and it's there to support this 9 to 5 paradigm of both parents working 9 to 5. It takes the children away from the parents, breaking that bond, making this submissive appeal to authority, teaching them that it's not parents, it's not community, it's just this abstract authority figure that always has the right answer. And that doing the steps and working your way up, that's how you become illuminated. That's the story that they're selling you. And not even those things, which are all horrible, but just day to day things, every day, the way that they treat children in school, people know is very unfair and unjust. Here's an example. It happens a million times. Nonsense punishments. Oh, you're being late to class too much. You know what? You're suspended. Can't go to class. How does that make any sense? That happens all the time. And so there you go. That's one reason. I'm not going to list out all these 33. I have more than 33 reasons to homeschool your children. I just want to keep it orange, you know? Here was another story. Totally different story. And I just want to make the point of it's not in people's minds. School is still that little house on the prairie. You're sending your child off, they're skipping to class, and they're around all their best friends that are just neighborhood friends. That's not what school is anymore, not at all. And I don't think it's been like that for a long time. So this is just a story about somebody with adopted children who the school is like holding their children back because they can't tell that they're related to the parents. And it was a TA, a teacher's assistant, who's like, no, 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 I can't let your children go with you. Like, you don't look like their parents. And even just this scenario, you could talk about it so much, just how much more complicated things are these days. I think adoption is fine, but none of this stuff should be as normal as people take it. It's just total NWO. They want a one world family where the color of your children's skin doesn't match your skin and everything's mixed up, and your children aren't even your biological children. They want you to think that that's normal. They're always pushing this type of stuff, and it's just a huge topic. And I there's so much that I could say that I kind of just want to move on. Schools are not just that schoolyard. We're teaching you reading and writing and arithmetic. It's so much bigger than that now, and so much more complicated. Confusing family situations to explain to your children, and all this gender fluid stuff that's being pushed, and you can't compare it to what it used to be. Yeah, just there are these people down here just like saying their birth mother might be attempting to kidnap them. Just that schools, so I guess schools are not safe anymore. People don't even feel safe there. People are afraid of children being kidnapped by estranged. Just do you see how psychotic this world is? That it's like a battleground. Schools, people, they're afraid of getting school shootings, and that's a lot. That's a lot for the children. I just saw a disgusting. It was an ad for. I mean, I don't know what are they even selling at a certain point. Fear. It was a back to school ad that like turned into a school shooting scenario. And when you know that that stuff is psyops, it just gets even more disgusting. I remember being afraid of that stuff because I used to believe that it was real. Oh, but then you learn about the 33s and the orange and the fact that these people are disgusting and lie about this stuff. Fear based mind control. It's masonry. I'm just going to read this because it's crazy. So I'll just read it and then move on. At this juncture, let's introduce the role of the Masonic fraternity. as it pertains to public education. Consider, if you will, that Freemasonry and the schools are basically in the same business, the people business. We tell our initiates that our Masonic teachings are designed to make them wiser, better, and happier. And look at here that they say, we tell our initiates. They're not saying that their teachings are designed. They just say that they tell them that they're designed. They're very specific with how they say things. We are a philosophical fraternity, but we're also an educational institution. We're concerned about people. We deal with people. We develop people. We educate people. Although we are no longer engaged in the building of cathedrals, as if these people could build those cathedrals, no, they can only restore them. They can't build them like that. We are concerned with developing character, leadership, better individuals, better family men, better citizens. Our Masonic forefathers supported the idea of free universal education for the citizenry, which was true to their belief that a builder is an enlightened man. You'll hear people talking about builders, being a builder. That's a Masonic reference. We're generally the first to take practical steps in support of public education in any newly developing area. Yeah, any new town is Masonic. As our Masonic brethren joined in exploring the burgeoning New World, led by Lewis and Clark, other Masons were to be found among the pioneers who moved into and developed these areas. One of their first endeavors in a new community was to build a Masonic lodge. Generally, this was a 2-story structure with the ground floor to serve as a schoolroom, the upstairs as the lodge room. I just think that speaks for itself. Look at that. Jesus as Savior, Freemasons. Freemasons started the public school system. Yep. This is the type of nonsense that they show you in school and they sell it as real. This is just some composite image. It looks about as real as the NASA stuff. It's some zoomed in microscope image of a needle eye, and then they just superimpose it with some other thing. Look how it's orange. But public education is full of their textbooks that are full of BS images. And instead of, you should just teach them the hoaxcraft, teach your children, that is, to don't believe anything you hear, and believe half of what you see. If it looks a little off, it's probably off. You have that intuition. Totally different subject. You send your children to public school and you give them some money for lunch, they're probably going to buy Pepsi and candy bars that people are selling. A lot of times it's hilarious that you see the masonry at all levels and inside the public school system, how children get dragged into selling candy bars and raising money, and you know that somebody at the top is just sitting there pocketing all this. And there were other business adventures at my school. One of a Jew, astronomy teacher who pretended to be Christian, like sold bagels. Thought that was so funny. And yeah, a bunch of junk food there. Why not teach the children how to cook? And that should be there should be a class that cooks the food, healthy food for children. How hard could that be? That would be a type of job that, nothing is run in a way that makes sense, or, oh, that's interesting. This sounds like a fun idea. Let's run with it. Hire some chef, a passionate chef who wants to teach children how to cook, and they could do the lunch service. If you homeschool, you can do that. Your children can help you learn how to cook at lunchtime, and they can help you prep for dinner. They can learn real things instead of just drinking a Pepsi. My school was a Pepsi school. What about you guys? Your school is it's a Pepsi school or a Coke school. This chocolate milk stuff is disgusting. The milk that they turn into chocolate milk, it's milk that's gone bad, basically, because they're going to add so much sweet chocolate to it. And here you go, kids, chug a lug. I think of it as the same. You're not sending your child to a farmhouse to learn how to read and write. No, you're sending your children to the zoo to have to fend off children that are drugged out of their minds with who knows what types of drug concoctions they got them on. And once they hit middle school, they got them on their fake puberties. It is crazy. And Real humans just have to learn coping mechanisms to just make it through. And I think a lot of regular humans, they come out very introverted. And maybe naturals are just naturally introverts. I don't know. I think a lot of us develop it though, just from leave me alone. We just don't want to be a part of the psychosis. Adderall is passed around like it's candy, especially when you get to college and stuff. People pop it just for, oh, I have a midterm coming up tomorrow, so I'm gonna study all night. Why are there so many special needs classrooms? That's not normal. Think of Little House on the Prairie. Where's all the autistic children in Little House on the Prairie? Where's the second schoolhouse for all the mentally challenged children? And nowadays there's so many people with autism, so many people with mental problems that stop them from learning, that they can't even fit in the rooms. And there's parents that say, no, there's nothing wrong with my kid, they're totally normal, they're totally normal. And they push them through the regular class. And okay, so great, now your child is stuck in a classroom with like 10 mentally challenged people and 15 children on ADD meds. It's crazy. How is that? That's not a learning environment. 17 facts you learn in school that are wrong. What about the fact that the stuff that they teach you is just wrong and people know it's wrong? They know it's bad and they send their children there anyways. It's insanity. Here you go. They teach this to them really, really young and they keep hammering it into their brain. I'm sure every year there's probably something that they're studying for most of the year that has to go into this ball earth thing. And that's the volcano hoax is really hard to get people to get past that one. It's because you were taught so young and you saw so many cartoon images. Maybe you did a little vinegar baking soda thing yourself. That's why it's hard to wake up from this stuff. It's really damaging. We'll just spend talking about these homeschool myths debunked. How will they socialize with others? Well, I don't know. Just you have to make those opportunities arise for your children to be social. And just because you're homeschooling doesn't mean that you can't sign up your children for sports or extracurricular activities. In fact, they can do even more of that stuff because their whole day isn't wasted with school. That if you get together with other homeschool children, you can go do actual exciting stuff together. That's more important than sitting behind a desk being blabbed at. And I mean, that's just another thing too. How will they ever have friends? There are, especially today with the internet, there's tons of get-togethers, groups of people that get together to have their homeschool children interact with one another. And another thing too is people always bring this stuff up as if you send your child to public school, this could never happen. Oh, there's no antisocial children that make it through public school. Of course, that's a lie. That's not true. Oh, there's no children that make it through public school and they have no friends. That's a lie. There's plenty of people that have no friends in public school. There's plenty of people that they're just tormented every day of their life. And then they grow up, and if they have children, they send their children there anyways. Stockholm syndrome. What else is in here? Kids need to be around other kids. Yeah, you can still accomplish that. Homeschooled kids are weird. Here, this is actually just a thing. So many people are homeschooled that you have no idea, and they're not weird. Just I know a lot of people in my life who were homeschooled that were totally, quote unquote normal. So, what were those just false? Do those people not exist? Even though I know them, I personally know a lot of people that are very well adjusted, and they were homeschooled. I know people that are some of the most personable people that I've ever met. And yeah, they had very unconventional upbringings. Like, I mean, I don't have to get into the details, but very unconventional upbringings. And they're totally adjusted, totally fine. You're denying him so much. Your child will be lonely. He will never be normal. Oh my gosh. As if what? When you're sitting behind a desk for 50 minutes at a time and then you get a 10-minute break, that's lonely. You can't say anything or talk to anybody. That's much more lonely than a homeschooled child who can just live a normal life. I like this bright orange t-shirt and the obvious what the heck gender are you even trying to be? Are homeschoolers sheltered from real life? I mean, not if you teach them about them. Some of them are. And real life in question marks. Who's to say what real life? What? They don't watch all the TV shows. They don't get all the jokes. They're not doing all the trends. Is that missing out on real life? And you can still teach them about that stuff and how lame it is. They can, especially with the internet, they're still going to have access to all the whatever's hip these days. Here's an unconventional lifestyle. These are really high level Masons. If you're a really high level Mason, the chance that you send your child to a normal public school upbringing becomes practically zero. And in my opinion, the even higher and higher level Masons, it becomes more and more likely that your children are going to have totally strange upbringings because the parents, they know it's all fake. So here's people, look at all these families, seafaring family of 5. Family has been sailing around the world. How we changed our life and moved aboard a ship, I'm guessing they're saying, sail oceans. Look at the tag there, 1733. Raising your children at sea. I know somebody that was like this. They were raised at sea, sailing the oceans, because their parents knew that they probably knew that the earth is flat and unmoving. They probably knew that there's hidden land out there. Maybe some of these people have access to that land. They knew that all the regular school stuff is a bunch of BS. So they got to go live real life and not just be a slave drone. And I also think of travelers, people that live very unconventional lives. They live in a trailer and they are very religious. The travelers, they are very religious with the Bible because they know it's true. They know the earth is flat and unmoving. That's why they don't send their children to school, because they know the truth. If you knew the truth, wouldn't you not send your children to school? How could you know that it's a lie, but then still send your children there? Here are just some Bible verses. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are gone out into the world. Beware, lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. So these are all warnings. Don't buy into these earthly institutions that tell you that they're going to make you a smarty pants, because they're going to fool you. Some of what they say is true about the sciences, but they're going to put their little twists on it. And I'm mostly talking like electronics and stuff. If you wanted to study how to collect electricity out of the air, okay, you probably could take some electromagnetism classes. You probably could study that stuff, but that doesn't mean that everything that they're telling you is real. That doesn't mean an electron is actually a particle. They don't know that stuff. They don't really know how this stuff works. They just have guesses. And at best, they're selling you some sort of twisted lie. And anyways, continuing on. Know ye not that the unrighteous shall not inherit the kingdom of God? Be not deceived, neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor effeminate, nor abusers of themselves with mankind. Ye shall know them by their fruits. These people show themselves to be of the flesh, and so they don't have all the answers. They don't know the nature of God. They don't know the nature of this place, this universe. Their universe story is just fake. I don't even like the word universe. Where we live, they don't know. They don't have it all figured out. So just read your Bible and all truth shall be revealed. So to me, it doesn't bother me that we don't have all the answers. Somebody that tells you that they have all the answers, they're a liar. Keep going. But evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived. We're supposed to know that there's all these people out there trying to trick us. And you're not supposed to be gullible, and you're just supposed to be a skeptic. The Bible teaches you to be a skeptic. Matthew chapter 7, verses 21. I don't know if I go all the way to 23, probably not. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven. You also need to be discerning towards people that claim to be religious. Throughout my whole life growing up, people that have claimed to be Christian, I could just feel it that they were a big phony. Just because somebody claims to be religious, just because somebody claims to follow Jesus Christ, that doesn't mean anything. You know, Worst case scenario, if you just have the wrong vibes about a person and you shut them down, you just say, you know what, I'm not dealing with you anymore because I got some weird vibes about you. If they did turn out to be a good person and have good faith and they really were a follower of Christ, is that really bad to just say, I don't know, I had some weird feelings, so I'm going to put you out of my life? What I'm getting at here is people feel really bad about rejecting people that claim to be followers of Jesus Christ. And I think it's something that you have to get over. There's going to be a lot of wolves out there in sheep's clothing that they claim to be Christian, they claim to follow Jesus Christ, but they're going to rub you the wrong way. They're going to send off your alarm bells, and you don't need to feel bad about saying, you know what, I'm not dealing with you anymore. God bless you. Peace out. You know, if you end up being a great person, I'll see you in heaven. See you later. Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. That's what this whole education farce, ball earth stuff. You need to be smart. You need to wake up to this stuff and stand for it. You can't go along with the dream reality. You have to stick up for the truth. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Matthew chapter 10, verse 16. Behold, I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as serpents and harmless as doves. The reason that the word serpent is chosen here is because Satan. We're supposed to be as wise as, we're supposed to understand Satan's tricks. We're supposed to be that wise, but as harmless as a dove. You're not supposed to do it, but you're supposed to know all the tricks that they do to deceive you. Know your enemy. This would be a better book to read than all the feminist literature that I was forced to read. It crushes you. My wife likes to talk about how when she was young, she used to love reading. She never reads anymore, and she says it's because when she had to take AP English or whatever, it just crushed her desire to read anything because they just force you to read so much stuff. So I don't know, as far as what would I don't know if I would ever force my child to read anything besides the Bible, but suggested reading might be something more like this, or I don't know, something better than whatever they have you read in public school. This is the kind of stuff they made me do in public school. Memorize the preamble, because that's useful. They had us memorize Shakespeare. It never was memorize Bible verses, and that's just the way that it is, public school. They like to talk in the royal we. When you submit yourself to the system, people are gonna talk on behalf of you in the royal we all the time, and you just get used to submitting yourself to that. I liked this image right here, the we me inversion, the royal we. Thank you. Somebody pointed this out. When they talk about the Constitution, they like to talk about how the U.S. Constitution was forged. And so look at the wordplay there. The U.S. Constitution could be a really old document that the founding fathers, the founding FTM, maybe they didn't even write it, and all they did was just forge their signatures on it. The truth exists outside of culture. And the point that I'm trying to make here is you don't have to play the game. You don't have to go along with all their BS systems. The truth exists, and Jesus Christ is the truth. The truth is the truth. It doesn't matter people's opinions. You can't buy into any culture. There's no right culture. And you can't just send your children to school, because that's basically saying I agree with what they're doing here when you send your children to school. And they're not selling you the truth at school. And nobody's institution, there's not a degree out there, there's nothing in this world that can give you the truth. And that's, in people's mind, that's what the education system should be doing. You know, teaching people things, teaching people about the truth. But the truth is nowhere near the education system. And that's just what I wanted to say here. So much of what people believe is just BS. Did you guys know this? That the whole lemming thing, that was a Disney production. the lemmings flying off the cliff to their suicide. It was a ridiculous fake nature documentary. I love this because it's fake nature stuff. Great apes are fake. Gorillas are not real. Chimpanzees are not real. They're fursuits. They've been faking nature stuff. It's just one of the things that they love to fake. Koalas are animatronics. Pandas are fursuits. Sloths are animatronics. When you submit to the herd, you're part of that herd. You're going down the broad way to destruction. The straight and narrow path, you got to go do your own thing. Straight and narrow path, doing your own thing, following Jesus Christ only. And then we got the herd with this herd immunity. You got to get your herd immunity if you're going to go to the public school, because you're going down that broad way to destruction with the herd. We know that Jesus Christ is the good shepherd. This was just sad. This just shows you how quickly the indoctrination comes and how people want to be validated. People want to be good, but they're in a system that's telling them that evil is good and good is evil. This is total Stockholm syndrome. After years of taking my kids to get their flu shots, sometimes kicking and screaming, I totally forgot about it this year because we were so busy. I get a call from the pharmacy today asking if it's okay to vaccinate my 13 and 17-year-old who walked over there after school. I'm so proud of them for making this proactive, healthy decision without forcing them. Man, oh man. Reddit, first of all, is so bad. So bad. This has got to make people wake up how bad they are, because even the most reasonable people have started to wake up to the flu vaccine thing, how bad they are. Like, even worse than the standard vaccine. They don't even claim, they don't even pretend that the flu vaccines work to a reasonable level, and people still buy into it 100%. And this was just sad to me. I don't have that many more, so finishing up, if you're autistic, once you hit 18, you're tossed out with the trash. I'm a parent of an autistic man. I have been to all the parent classes and groups where people seem to just talk about how hard their lives are looking after these children. Why are there so many groups? Why is nobody saying, hey, wait a minute, why do we even have to have these giant groups of people with all the parents of autistic children? Why do these groups even exist? Nobody's taking that. That should be the first question. Why are there all these autistic children? Nope, because they just can't break out of that little mind prison. And they're proud of it. They become proud of it. They become proud of their children that have been hurt by the system. They turn it into a sense of pride. It's like on Facebook, people posting things of, oh, look at this beautiful, beautiful child. And it's some child that was born horribly disfigured. It's the same thing. You shouldn't be proud of this type of stuff. When pride cometh, then cometh shame. But with the lowly is wisdom. Nobody should think highly of themselves at all. But you should definitely not be thinking highly of evil or things. Not that autism is evil. It's really unfortunate. It's not a good thing, so you definitely shouldn't praise things that are bad, in my opinion. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. It's that Masonic black and white. They've flipped everything. And if you send your children to public school, they're going to grow up in this flipped earth, and they're going to be confused like I was. And none of it's going to make sense. And they're going to be surrounded by these people too. Getting onto this part, gaslighting. They will be surrounded by Masonic deceivers who will target them out and perform psyops on them. It's the way that they operate. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Just say no to the Baphomet system. God bless everybody in Jesus Christ.